Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month edition of the DSSC Insight Series, which is the monthly webinar appointment by the Data Spaces Support Center. Welcome to the last webinar of the summer. Thank you for tuning in. And while we wait for all the attendees to tune in, I'll be happy to introduce the content of this webinar. This month, we will talk about a key topic for our community, which is the Data Space Toolbox. This is a second webinar about the Data Space Toolbox. We will have updates, and we will have also testimonials about why and all the advantages of being listed in the DSSC Toolbox. Now, specifically, we will do so with the following lineup. We will have an introduction by Gianfranco Cecconi, the Executive Director of the Data Space Support Center. Hi, Gianfranco. Then we will have an introduction of all the updates about the toolbox with Mariano Blai Andreu from the International Data Spaces Association. We're very happy to have with us two testimonials about the benefits and all the benefits of being listed in a toolbox. We have Gonzalo Gil by Technicare, and we will have Alain Porto from Ikerlan. And then we will have last small keynote from Anil Turkmayali from International Data Spaces Association, will give us another walkthrough of the toolbox. The webinar will end with a Q&A. And just as a reminder, you can ask questions throughout the webinar. We will do our best to answer. Our speakers will do our best to answer in the chat. Any unanswered question will be dealt with at the very end, so stick around because the discussion will turn very interesting. Just a few housekeeping items. The first one is this webinar is recorded. The recording is available on our YouTube channel, which you can access by scanning the QR code here. On the YouTube channel, you will also find all the previous recording of the DSSC Insight Series, the recording from our annual event, the Data Spaces Symposium, and also educational videos that we are developing about all key DSSC topics. And last but not least, we are very active in the DSSC newsletter. It's the fastest way to being up to date with everything that we do from release, deliverable, event, and everything from our community. So please don't hesitate to sign up to subscribe to the newsletter. You can do so by scanning the QR code there. So without further ado, I am happy to leave the floor to Gianfranco. And for his introduction, Gianfranco.
Thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's Insight Series webinar. Of course, my name is Gianfranco. I have the pleasure of leading the Data Space Support Center as the Executive Director, working alongside Project Coordinator, Professor Boris Otto. In addition, I serve as Chief Solution Officer at the International Data Space Association, a non-profit industry initiative dedicated to advancing data space practices and technology and the creators of the data space product. I will take a minute of your patience to tell you a story before we get down to business. Imagine it's the weekend, you're at home, you're relaxed, but you know you need to put a picture on the wall, something you promised to your partner ages ago, right? You know that you got the perfect hammer. It's well weighted, it's balanced, it's durable, it's so comfortable that it feels like an extension of your arm. It's the kind of tool that can make every DIY job smoother and even a pleasure, you might say. And then your partner comes to you and asks, so where's my picture then? You look for your amazing hammer, but instead of finding it in your everyday toolbox, it's wedged somewhere at the bottom of a dusty box in the garage. It's hidden under a half-empty paint can, behind a weight bracket that you're just saving just in case, you know. That is what it feels like when a product or service that one needs isn't easy to find. It might be brilliant, but it's not visible, it's not accessible, it may as well not exist. Then imagine you're not doing DIY, but your mission is to build data spaces for your customers. Your tool, in this case, is not a hammer, but it may be what a data space would need instead. It may be a connector if you write software. It may be a template for a contract or a rule book if you're a consultant or an analyst. It may be a robust data models or vocabularies if you're a domain expert, for example. So would you leave that hammer at the bottom of the toolbox? Can you trust that the Data Spaces Governance Authority will recommend your tool before any other just because they like your face? My guess is no. One word that we at the DSSC always have on the tip of our tongue is ecosystem. Why do we always talk about ecosystems? Because data spaces are not just a technology, but more of a model for social-technical systems. Promoting the adoption of such a model means reaching out to the entire ecosystem that needs to understand and adopt that model, that tool, to make it a success. Of course, the data spaces themselves are at the center of this idea picture, but it is not enough. Indeed, today, we are putting the spotlight on another category of actors that we believe is instrumental to the success of the entire picture. That is the providers of products and services for data spaces and their participants. We realized early in the DSSC project that there was no obvious stage for those organizations and companies to showcase their work, and we needed them to be found. We needed that toolbox. So the Data Space Support Center launched this toolbox a few months ago. Your competitors are already populated with goodies and getting all the attention, while you are doing the same. Over the next hour, my colleagues Mariano and Daniel will tell you everything you need to know and bring along a few friends, Gonzalo and Alain, to share their tools and their stories. So, Mariano, can you tell us more about what this toolbox thingy is, please?
Of course. Let me first share the screen so I can just to facilitate my speech. Now you should be seeing it in presentation mode, right?
No. Oh, now yes.
Yeah, okay. Good. So thank you very much for this introduction, Gianfranco. I think it's very, very meaningful what you said about the toolbox. I wanted to say that probably you found that the title we chose for this webinar is kind of a bit provocative, but in following the words from Gianfranco, you understand that visibility is very, very important for your solutions. So you have developed a solution that is nice, but it doesn't have visibility or doesn't have visibility in front of the right audience, then probably you are missing very good opportunities. Before going ahead, I would like to point out a couple of things about the DSSC Toolbox. One is that as far as we know, as far as we understand, this is the only catalog of data space products. So there are many catalogs for solutions and for tools, but this is the only one that is focused on data spaces, products, services, and solutions overall. That's one important thing. The second thing is you can get your solution published for free. DSSC, we are a project funded by the European Commission, and one of the deliverables that we have in our grant agreement is to deliver the toolbox and allow solutions aligned with the DSSC to be published there. So it's focused on data spaces and it's for free. Well, not bad. So just let me put you in context. So why we think to show and explain why the toolbox is relevant right now. So the evolution of the data spaces, as you can see, this is the typical curve used to show the adoption of any innovation, not only applicable to data spaces, but to all the innovations, not only technology innovations, but all kinds. At the beginning, you have innovators, then early adopters, and then in the early majority, late majority is when the innovation becomes mainstream. Yeah? When I joined IDSA almost 3 years ago, time flies, we were definitely in the early adopters phase. But now after 3 years, we are definitely in the early majority. We are at the beginning of making the data spaces, of seeing the data spaces becoming mainstream. And that is very important and very relevant for the toolbox, as I will try to explain to you. Also, the type of projects are different. So the type of projects when the data spaces concept was kind of invented or when they was coined were research projects. And typically, you have, in a research project, your deliverable is a paper, positioning paper. Maybe you have a proof of concept here and there, but the projects moved on to the test beds, to implement test beds or demonstrators or base camps, whatever you want to call them. There you have software that is functioning and also some frameworks in terms of governance that are functioning, but not operational yet. the operational phase was the third phase. Well, the third, more than a phase, is the maturity of the project. That is research, test beds, operational, and then we have some very good examples as of right now, some good examples of data spaces projects which are scaling already. So you see that there is evolution in different dimensions. Also, is interesting to see that the words and terms used in discussing and having conversations about the data spaces also changed. So some time ago, and still now, you talk about data spaces enthusiasts, you talk about inspirational speeches or inspirational pitches, or let us be a pioneer of the data space, have reference architecture. Those terms are typically used for something that is starting the development, okay? But nowadays, I hear, because of my job, I hear a lot talking about business models. What is the business model of this data space? What is the business model of this use case? Use cases as well, how to design use cases, and value added. Everybody wants to know what is the value, what is the value chain, the value chain of data. So the data is gaining value across the value chain. And of course, interoperability. No one wants to implement a data space if that data space is going to be a silo, right? So you see that there is evolution in the data spaces. And then now moving this evolution, if you are going to use a data space and you are evaluating solutions for those data spaces, and you do it by yourself, imagine that the toolbox, the DSSC toolbox, does not exist. What kind of things would you be asking yourself? You would be asking probably, what type of solutions do I need? Okay, I want to implement, I want to build a data space. Do I need only technical solutions, or do I need also not technical solutions, kind of governance frameworks? Or do I need connectors, vocabulary catalogs, governance? Of course, but what else? Should all be open source? Should be commercial? All those kind of things you will be asking yourself if you don't have a guidance. Also, when choosing and when selecting and evaluating what solutions you are going to use, you could be wondering to what standards should the tool and the solution be aligned to. No one wants a solution that is aligned to the, let's say, wrong standard. You want the solution to be aligned to the right standards. Data space protocol, yes. GaiaX Trans framework, of course, but also Citrus Urbu, why not? And what else? Others. Maybe it's not only these three. Of course, there are more standards, there are more frameworks. These are the things that you will be asking yourself. And also, what is the level of readiness of your solution? Well maintained, is active, is looking ahead. All these kind of things. No surprise for you, the DSSC Toolbox come to the rescue to answer and to help you answering the questions that you are asking. So what is the DSSC Toolbox? These words are carefully chosen. So it's a curated catalog. We said that it's a catalog, but it's a curated catalog of data spaces components or services, product services components, which is aligned with the DSSC blueprint and the DSSC specifications. Who should have the solutions published on the DSSC Toolbox? Well, service providers, software implementers, data space architects. Anyone in the room? Anyone relates? Service providers, software implementers, data space architects. If you have those solutions, and maybe it's not that you are implementing those, maybe a new category, an additional category is missing here, is that you are using a solution that might be open source, you are not the owner of it, but you are using it. Well, that's fine. You can go and submit it. There is no property sense of this. So you can be the service provider, you can be the implementer, but also you can be the user. And that's right that you submit it. Also, why? Well, what is the why here? Well, what we think is that the DSSC Toolbox is putting your solutions in front of the audience that matters. If you are an expert in biotechnology, for instance, you probably will not be browsing the DSSC website. If you are an expert on financial crisis or in the war of somewhere, you are not in the DSSC toolbox, in the DSSC website. The DSSC website attracts and gets people that are all interested in data spaces. So automatically, the audience that will see the toolbox is the audience that is interested in data spaces. And that is a good thing. Everyone browsing the toolbox will have an interest in data spaces. Key benefits for the solution providers. If you are a solution provider, you are wondering if you should have your solution published on the toolbox. Well, here you have some key benefits. From the strategic point of view, you know that the DSSC, as I mentioned, is a project funded by the European Commission, and one of the key deliverables is the blueprint, together with the conceptual model, together with the glossary, together with the building blocks. And well, DSSC is showing the way strategically for data spaces. So being aligned with the DSSC is a very good thing. Of course, you can be aligned with some other tendencies, but the right one, the main one, let's say, rather than the right, the main one is the DSSC. So the DSSC supports and guides is funded. So strategically, this is the right choice. In terms of alignment, so how can I ensure that this solution is aligned or is not? Well, what we do is we curate, the toolbox is curated by the DSSC itself. We are working together. So one team is preparing and maintaining the blueprint, the building blocks and everything. And another team within the same project, we are publishing and running all the processes related to the toolbox. So the DSSC itself curates the list of tools. And last is the community. It's all about community. We have a vibrant community within the DSSC, within the consortium, but also the network of stakeholders. So we have a community and we are happy to be challenged. So we are asking the community within the DSSC consortium and outside to challenge us. Well, so far, I think I hope I succeeded in picturing how good the DSSC toolbox is, but we know it's not perfect. We know it. Let me share some facts that I think are, well, relevant in terms of showing how imperfect we are. One is the level of adoption. We are around 23 tools, 23 solutions published. We think that number is too low. We should have more. And one of the actions we are taking is precisely this webinar, to show what the benefits. We want more solutions. It's not that we want, because we need for some KPI, because we think it's relevant and is going to be beneficial for the ecosystem to have more tools. So we think not are there. And yeah, in particular, Simple, you probably know that Simple project is implementing components for the data spaces. And if you look at the toolbox, probably you will not find Simple because it's not there. But it's going to be. So the message of the positive of this is we are working with Simple and we are looking at some details. So is at the high level, we are aligned with the Simple project, and Simple Open is looking at the self-assessment, and we are looking at the Simple Open features, and we are working on it, trying to explain and maybe trying to update a few things here and there. Good news is that Simple Open will be part of the DSSC Toolbox soon. I would like to say very soon, but with the summer in between, we hope to have Simple on board within summer or maybe right after summer. Then some things that are also not perfect, not ideal, with regards to the self-assessment. If you have seen the self-assessment, maybe you said, "Oh, this is a bit unclear." Well, you're right. Some of the questions are not very clear. But we are, again, we are working on it, and we are asking you to challenge us and to let us know this question is not clear, should be phrased otherwise, or is not relevant. We would like to have your feedback. In the self-assessment, you have a column specifically designed to gather your feedback. Another issue that you might find, that I find, is that the self-assessment is behind the blueprint. The latest version of the blueprint published is the 2.0, while if you look at the self-assessment is for the blueprint 1.5. So we are one version behind. Don't worry, you can still submit it, and it's okay. You don't need to wait until it's the 2.0. You can go ahead, and you know that I can assure we are working hard to align the self-assessment and the blueprint version. Also, something that could be, tricky is that the self-assessment is too strict. So you take your time, you fill the questionnaire, and at the end you simply get a pass or fail. There is no grace in between. We are also considering to be not so strict, and instead of passing only with the 100%, having something a bit more flexible. We will let you know, but please go ahead. Even if you don't pass with a clean 100%, submit it. And third part is, sometimes people are asking me what new features should be in the toolbox. One would be the compatibility. We have tools and solutions, but how do I know if this solution here, implemented a catalog, is compatible with the participant agent? That feature also could be there. And maybe there are solutions that are misrepresented. At the end of the day, we are working with a self-assessment. Self-assessment, you assess the readiness and the alignment of your own solution. So sometimes you love your solution so much that you might be a bit biased. So it might be the case. We know this and some other things, and we are working on it. This webinar, the purpose of this webinar is a call for action. And the call for action is we need you and your solutions. One is submit your solutions, go to the dssc.eu website, and then find your way through support. It's very easy to navigate that, fill the self-assessment, and you will get it published if it's sufficiently aligned to the blueprint. Even if it's not, provide your feedback. We really want you to challenge us with the self-assessment, with the process, with everything, and other solutions. If you have seen one of the solutions published in the toolbox, and you don't think it quite qualifies as is stated, please share it with us. The next slide, I will give you the email address where you can send us any kind of feedback. So please challenge us, challenge other solutions. And then a question that sometimes I get is there any continuity beyond March 2026? You know that DSSC is as I said, is a project funded by the European Commission, was a 42-month project. And again, time flies, and the DSSC, as it is now, will finish by the end of March 2026. So you may wonder, just for a few months, does it make sense for me to submit my solution just for a few months? Well, I'm here to tell you that there will be continuity, that the 1st of April 2026, the toolbox will be up and running and will be online. Probably the DSSC will be not exactly the same shape as it is now, but the toolbox will have continuity. So go ahead and submit your solutions, challenge us, and here you have the email address, support@dssc.eu, and here you have the QR to my LinkedIn profile. You can provide feedback and questions and new ideas from any of those channels. And with that said, this is me done. Please leave your questions in the chat and in the QA section. Now I'm going to hand over the mic to Gonzalo Gil from Technica, and your head offices are in Eibar, if I am not mistaken. And I also would like to say that I'm here delivering this webinar, this part of the webinar from Bilbao, while attending the ByData forum. And we have the two testimonials are from Eibar and from Arrasate Mondragon, from the Basque Country. So very much this webinar is focused on the Basque Country. I would like also to thank Innovalia, who arranged this meeting room for me to deliver this webinar. And Gonzalo, mic is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mariano. This is Gonzalo Gil. I am the data spaces team lead in Techniker. As Mariano has said, Techniker is a company that is in the Basque Country, in Eibar. We are actually a research and development center specialized in manufacturing. And in my case, we have been working on the data spaces topic since its beginning. We have been member of IDSA since 2028 and Gaia X since 2020. And in this process of working with data spaces, we develop our own tool, the Techniker Data Space Connector, which in the context of the research that we are performing, we aim to provide with the companies with a user-friendly tool to easily work on data spaces by being data providers or data consumers, so that you can easily define your data sets, negotiate the policies, and consume data, always following the standards that are being defined in the context of the Eclipse Foundation, such as the Data Space Protocol and the Decentralized Claims Protocol. So having said that, why we found in Techniker the Data Space Support Center toolbox quite interesting? Well, I think that all the people as us find the concept of data spaces quite complex. So when we want to build a data space, we need to first of all define which kind of requirements we want to meet, which kind of features will be provided, and then which kind of components we need to develop or deploy in order to build that data spaces. So I think that the Data Space Support Center actually has made quite a good work by defining the blueprint in which you can find the different features that should be provided or components in order to face the three pillars: data interoperability, data sovereignty and trust, and data value creation. But once we have that features identified, there is a need to figure out which kind of components are there in order to provide these features and to build the data spaces. So in our opinion, I think that the Data Space Support Center is quite a good tool in order to find the different components that are out there, such as the Technical Data Space Connector, in the case that you want to just deploy a connector to configure your data sets and consume them following standards. But you, depending on the features that you need to provide or the requirements that you need to meet in your data space, you can find other components that will be interesting for you in order to build that data space.
Thank you very much, Gonzalo. It's very good. It's very nice to see that you find the toolbox useful. Very good. And now next testimonial will be for Alain, please. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mariano. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Alain Porto. I'm a researcher and a project manager at Ikerlan. I work in the field of data spaces, and my mission is to bridge the gap between technology and the real needs of the industrial companies, basically. About Ikerlan, Ikerlan is a technological center located in the Basque Country, as Techniker in the northern Spain, in one of the most industrialized regions of Europe. And Ikerlan was born to connect academia with industry. And our mission is to help companies adopt cutting-edge technologies to improve their competitiveness, create new business cases, and generate value in the region, basically. And Ikerlan is part of the Mondragon cooperative group. This means that we are a cooperative. And being a cooperative means that we don't just serve shareholders, we serve our community. And in this duty, we found that companies are struggling to adopt AI in their day-to-day life. And what are the problems that the companies are struggling with? With Industry 4.0, a lot of companies have collected lots of data. But the thing is that they have not turned this data into value. And this is a big problem. And we found, speaking with the companies, that there are 4 main barriers for that. The first one is that the data sharing issues. Some companies have a lack of trust in third parties because they fear a leak of IP, or because there's no clear governance mechanism. There's also the costly integrations. When a small or medium company wants to integrate a new partner, there's always a custom integration, and this is costly. There's also the AI skill gap. Not all the companies have the AI team in-house to figure out even what business cases they can build out of the AI. And also we have the limited computing resources. Not all the companies, and especially the small and medium enterprises, do not have the infrastructure to even run models. So as a result of all these problems, we see that only big players can benefit from AI right now. So at Ikerlan and Mondragon, we asked ourselves, how could we democratize the access to AI? And we found the solution on data spaces, and that's why we love them. Our answer is to combine data spaces with federated learning. We created Mondragon X, that is a data space for the companies under the umbrella of Mondragon Corporation, and we created on top of that the federated learning app. This federated learning app is based on Flower, an open federated learning framework, and is served through the data space using the data space marketplace that we already built also. It has a graphical interface that allows the users to choose the role they want to adopt in the federated learning flow. If they want to act as an aggregator or as a client, they can by following the forms in the graphical interface. And by design, this is a plug and play tool. So as you see, with this solution, we are trying to solve all the barriers that the companies in our neighborhood had. So once we have this solution, we ask ourselves, how can we reach more people and increase the impact of this tool? Because, at Ikerlan, our value is to let these tools connect with the industries in our surroundings and beyond. So submitting the app to the Data Space Support Center Toolbox was a natural step for us. At Ikerlan and Mondragon, we believe that innovation should be open and collaborative. We build solutions to create opportunities in our community, and the tools allow us to do that and allow us to connect to a wider audience, and also to gather feedback and to iteratively create a new product, improve our product, and finally deploy a production version. Basically, we are trying to be agile thanks to the Data Space Support Center. And also, we are grateful to Data Space Support Center for launching this initiative, because we really love the community spirit behind it, the alignment with the European values around the data sharing, and the opportunity to build visibility and credibility for the tools that we are developing. So, if you are working on data-driven innovation, exploring federated learning, or just curious about how to collaborate in data spaces, we'd love to connect. You already know us, you already know me, you can contact me, and you can follow Ikerlan on LinkedIn if you want. And we are here to connect and to build a new future. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Alain, and thank you, Gonzalo, both of you. I must say that I've been working with Ikerlan and with Technica for longer than 2 years, and I think that their research spirit is really remarkable. And well, I wanted to thank again for the time that they devoted to this endeavor. And with this said, I think it's time for you, Anil.
Yes.
I have this slide. Yeah. So please.
Thank you very much, Mariano, and good afternoon, morning, evening, everyone. I will not repeat the messages that were already said, but so today I just have only one slide, and then I will skip to the walkthrough of the toolbox, because there are some functionalities which can be of really good use. So if we can go to the next slide, so that's sorry, I will take this screen sharing.
Yep.
Okay, I hope I am visible, audible. Okay,
Yep.
so yeah, as said previously by Mariano, so it's a created set of tools, services, and frameworks, and we really need to have this knowledge existing in one place, and we need to really merge all the information that could be fragmented here and there. And so Toolbox is doing that in a great way. So we have all the solutions, and I mean most of the solutions that are listed there. So when one wants to implement a data space and also adhere to DSSC's blueprints and specifications, then they can see which solutions are aligned with which specifications. So that's the value, the main value that is being brought here. Sometimes when using it, I'm also thinking of these PC Builder magazines that were existing in the late 90s or early 2000s. So this is really nice. Like you can see what is available, like what kind of vocabulary tools are available, what kind of identity management and stuff like that. So I will skip immediately to the walkthrough here, and yeah. Yes, so as you can see here, so it's classified by services, and you can just basically go into several services to see which tools are classified under those. And so you can go into the details of it. And the good thing here is that it's also showing which solutions, I mean, which service category is aligned with which service definitions, and also which building blocks, and which part of the co-creation methodology as well. So this is really doing it in a great way. And also, so for example, let's go to the catalog and see 3 matching tools here. So the first one, so with the data space portal, and there's the compare functionality also. So you can basically choose some and add them to the bucket, and then make a comparison between. So it's really good to see which solution is using which blueprint version, and all these details, and the versioning between the solutions, and licenses, and application domains, industry, geographical area, TRL level, and a lot of more details about all the solutions. So it's of utmost importance to hold this information in one place, so that we don't really lose the information, and we just need to keep this growing with more and more solutions. So that's the idea. And here you can also always check the parts that are acquired from the DSSC blueprint. And so it's the place where you can see the methodologies, the specifications, and the products themselves. So that really makes it like a good place to find the parts, the reusable tools that one may need to implement a data space. So that's the good part. And also here we warmly invite everyone who are having a solution, or who are working on a solution or a framework that that adheres to the DSSC standards, to submit their solutions. So it's really not so hard. I mean, you can just basically, it's very well explained here, like it's consisting of several steps, and then you can have your solution listed in the DSSC Toolbox, which is also providing further visibility to your product, and also you are also challenging the curation part, which is the good thing about any solution that is targeting that. So by saying that, I think we can directly switch to Q&A, or Gianfranco.
Yes, my camera is starting. It's taking a little time, sorry. But I actually have a question for you. I promise my picture will come back. perhaps we've been too fast in describing the toolbox, because I'm not sure that all of our attendees know what we mean by component, right? In DSSC lingo. Can I ask you to take a step back and describe what it is?
Sure. Well, for the component, again, I will refer to the example I gave in the presentation. This PC Builder magazines, I hope everyone remembers them, of course, but like where you have the motherboards listed or the graphic cards listed, and then you see some kind of a comparison. I mean, basically the parts of the parts that are available that you can put together to make it work. And in this context, they are also adhering to some specifications.
Thanks. That's a good point, because I believe that many of us that have started following the topic do not connect data spaces to something that you can actually shape the way you need, but rather as a, you may say, a platform, something that comes and you install and you have the whole thing, right? In this case, we cannot really go there. And we're trying not to. So it's common that we get questions like, so what is the reference architecture for data spaces suggested by DSSC? And we usually need to explain there is not really a reference architecture. We believe that it's up to you to define how the design works according to what you need specifically. So thanks for that. Yeah, you are actually supposed to choose from this and design that together. And we actually have another kind of asset in the DSSC. That's something we call the co-creation method, by which you choose which component go where according to what you need to develop. If Mariano is still around, I wanted to ask him something. I know he's touched by the topic, that is, we know that the DSSC and the data spaces funded by the EU are required to use open source software, but is the toolbox just about open source software?
And thank you for the question. No, you can also publish commercial solutions. We prefer, of course, open source, but also commercial solutions are also allowed and will be published on the toolbox.
Yeah, and the point is that we don't need necessarily, we don't need to express judgment, let's say. We believe that every good piece of software or component in general, as Anil reminded us, whether it is a tool, a template for a contract or something and so on, all of these, even when commercial, can provide great examples of how to solve problems. That's the point, right? So you may love that hammer made in titanium, but you can never afford it. Fine, but you can see how good it looks and what kind of feeling it gives you when you go to the shop, right? And then perhaps you see old iron hammer, it's fine. There's another thing I was curious of. Yeah, I touched on, oh yeah, sorry, Anil, go on.
Oh, thank you, Gianfranco. Just I remembered a good example for that from the computers domain about this open source versus closed source discussions. So we have the operating systems like that. We had operating systems that are open source, operating systems that are fully commercial, and they had their own audiences, and they succeeded in both ways, and they all worked, I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah. One more thing that I also believe is a historical misunderstanding around the toolbox. That is, again, because data spaces are sometimes misunderstood as only technical system, think people just say, okay, tell me where the software is, right? But the components are not just software. I usually use as example templates for contracts, or I don't know, but any kind of template, really, templates for rulebooks, templates for legal contracts, agreement between sharers, if you can call it like that. We are a bit poor at the moment in the toolbox with that, but we should always remind the audience that we are collecting those as well. Many experimenting with data spaces over the last 3 years have written early rulebooks, for example, that usually is the name that is used to collect the set of rules by which the participants behave in a data space. If you have a rulebook that you develop for yourselves and you are not particularly precious or difficult about it, why not submitting that as well? Again, how much time you would be saving to a neighbor of yours, right, that perhaps is dealing with the same problem. Actually, a question from Christina Drummond. If you have agreements and rulebooks, ours are in Zenodo. So it's for the ones who don't know, it is a platform for the publication of research papers. Where should we share those? Mariano, I believe you know the answer.
Oh, so yeah, my hand was raised just to illustrate what you were saying about the business. And actually, we have one of the tools related to the business and organization is the Citra rulebook model for a fair data economy. And actually, we wanted to have Citra sharing a testimonial because we thought it was very useful and very representative to have somebody from their side. But unfortunately, they were not available. So I encourage you guys to go to the toolbox and find the Citra rulebook model for a fair data economy. I think it's an excellent example for a non-technical solution. About the other question, sorry, I forgot, Gianfranco.
Hi, Mariano. Oh, sorry. So
I see the chat. It's very simple. Where do you submit your components if you want to offer them to the community?
Oh, you want to submit it? Maybe even I can share my screen just for a moment and show how easy it is to submit it. So give me a sec.
Yeah, Neil has also posted the link in chat.
Yeah. So it's as easy as I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes.
So you can here, you click on support. Here it explains what the support is, but here you click to Jira for support request, please reach out via the help desk. To click Jira. And here you have the different type of support that are offered by DSSC. And we put the submission to the toolbox, the first one on top, so it's easy to find. So you click on this one. If you want something else, if you want to provide some feedback or whatever, just click on get information or get support, and it will come to us. So that now you click to submission of the toolbox, and here you simply fill your data, and then you will go to what Anil showed before, and here you download the template, you fill it at your pace, you download the self-assessment, and you attach it to the previous screen. So it's very easy. So what it takes a bit of more time is to fill the self-assessment, but of course, if you know very well your solution, well, it should not take long.
That's great. And thanks, Christina, for asking. Of course, this applies to all of you if you think you have an asset in your hand that could be worth submitting and sharing with the others. Anna.
I think we have, Christina is asking very important question in the Q&A, so which is related to the toolbox, but also to the DSSC at large. I think she touches with the first question, she touches on a topic which we discuss a lot within the DSSC, which is she represents a data space governance authority, and that the limiting factor, as sadly we're aware in the community, is not the tools or technical expert, but funding to support awareness raising among our constituents and to build the data spaces. Are there funding opportunities for data spaces consortia to apply to help?
Okay, that's a bigger question than the toolbox, right? Unless there is money hidden at the bottom of the toolbox. I don't think so.
No. It's she reserved the question, the toolbox question for the chat, and then she went. She asked key question for the entire DSSC project. So
okay,
yeah.
So to the best of my knowledge, most of the funding in Europe is under the Digital Europe program of the Horizon program, and I'm sure Christina knows well already. We know that some member states are super active in this space. I mean, it's not by chance that the Iberian Peninsula is practically all dominating this webinar. There's so much attention and dedication to the topic of developing data spaces in Spain. So I don't know where you are, Christina, but perhaps you can move to a hot place in Madrid or Barcelona. I'm trying to make the other feel a sort of FOMO. People are moving here, right? Member states are involved. I mean, the DSSC has been recently invited in Sweden, in Denmark. The countries, in a way, that is what we've seen over the last year in particular. The countries are starting getting the initiatives for themselves, to the point that perhaps you notice Anna Filkunen in her acceptance speech when she became the commissioner for also our area, data development and strategy, she said something like that we need to do more for member states coordination. So there is interest in doing more in the states, in the member states. So Christina, I don't know, I guess perhaps you are in Ireland, for example. Check with your government or perhaps just ping them, stimulate them to do something and give them some FOMO as well. If you want, we can give you a hand with that. It's quite fun.
Thank you, Gianfranco, which is a nice segue to the second question for Christina, for which we all know the answer. And she asks, are there costs associated with the DSSC support? There are no costs associated with DSSC support. We will...
Christina, you're paying taxes, right? So you pay the rent.
I will, so Gianfranco, feel free to, I will add a link to the contact for website for you can get in touch with us for a question. You can fill up the form. But Gianfranco, if you feel free to add anything that Christina should know, except for moving to Spain, which is everyone's goal here. But yeah.
No, nothing to add, I believe. I'm also checking the Q&A window. I'm checking if there is anything we are still not covered. I believe it's all for now, no?
It is indeed all. So I see the question in the chat has been answered. So we are sadly towards the end of the webinar. So I want to thank you, the speakers, for Mariano, Anil, but most our testimonials, Gonzalo and Alain. Gianfranco, thank you as well for being for steering the discussion. As I did mention, this is the last webinar before the summer break, but do stick around and subscribe to our newsletter because we have a lot of news coming out to you, including information for our yearly event, upcoming webinars, and everything that we're working on that we will release very soon. So thanks again. Have a good summer, and we will see each other very soon in September. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.